Hey YouTube, Muchismo Eugene, another video from Exit Strategy. Today let's discuss spirituality as it pertains to the church. I believe that as in times past, when God spoke and He told the masses, you either tear this building down, let me build this building up inside of you, where everywhere you go, you got a mobile church, just like the Red Cross. They pull up to Walmart, you can go right to the bus and give them blood. He basically said, I need you to change the way you're doing business because you created this thing, this building, this shrine, so much so you've adorned it with all these trinkets, and the more you've adorned it with these things that you can see with your eye, you've taken your eyes off of what is spiritually. What is spiritually your strength. So you're looking with your physical eyes, and now you're looking at your accomplishments. And this is what this does when we start adorning ourselves. We start adorning others. We started lifting others up excessively. And it does a couple of things. First of all, it distracts from your core design, which is working on you. And to the point where you're giving more credit on the outside rather than on the inside. So now you're neglecting you, first of all, because you're giving your energies outside of you. And you're also doing that same thing where it pertains to spirituality in the sense of the physical things. Let's say you're wearing the cross. You're wearing t-shirts that represents and it advertises your faith. Nothing against it so much if that's what you feel compelled to do. But to the degree you do these things, they tend to distract from the core meaning of your existence. And that core meaning of your existence is to go inside of you. Find out what makes you move, what makes you content, what makes you peaceful, what makes you have a sure sense of your maximized awareness of this spiritual thing that you're talking about, you embrace. Plain and simple, you have to look within yourself and question yourself. Am I really secure in this faith, or am I just in this faith because it gives me the attention, it gives me the notoriety, it gives me all the accolades of the masses? There's no wonder Christ spent a lot of time by himself. There is no wonder empaths that are awakened spend more time by themselves and thereby becoming a greater version of themselves. That isolation is what does this to the empath and the chosen ones. What's the chances of that parallel? Christ spent a lot of time by himself, and when he came around, people gassed him up and tried to make him feel like he was the reason for the season. It says in the good book, man, God knew what was in man's heart. So when they came at him sideways, throwing curveballs, compliments, telling him how great he was, he already knew what was in our heart. See, God doesn't need me to endorse him. He doesn't need me to oversell him. He doesn't need me to promote him. All I need to do is just make it known to people in an organic fashion that he did these things for me, man, and I can't keep my mouth shut about them. That's your core design. When you've already been awakened by what God has done for you, there's no way you can keep your mouth shut. And that starts the ball rolling. It starts the ball rolling to the point where you say to yourself, man, where he said your life is not your own, you were bought with a price. That starts to make a lot of sense. It takes on a whole new meaning. You begin to see that my life is at its best when I'm doing that very thing that I'm inspired to do from something that's within me. That inspiration that's coming from within you is the Spirit of God. That is pushing you, even when you would rather not be doing that thing. Your comfort level is not even a question at that point. You're doing this thing because I want to say you're compelled, but I will go even further and say you're commissioned. You've been commissioned to do something. You've sworn an oath. Not as the police swears an oath and then start taking hush money, corruption. And this is not all police, that's just an analogy. Or politicians. All analogies, there are one hand full of possibly good politicians, God-fearing politicians, God-fearing cops that are doing their sworn duty. But you as a believer, chosen one, empath, spiritual being, you're on a quest, you're on a path, you're on a journey. You're trying to do the things to maximize your existence or self-worth. See, that worth comes from looking within self and finding that the thing that I'm doing is less about me, and it brings more joy to me to do something outside of myself, being motivated from something deep within me. And that's where the motivation has to come from within you. And that's the way it's going to be long lasting. It's going to be consistent across the board. And now that you're away and you have distance from the narcissist, which is pure evil, God rescued us from that evil. So we can go on to alert and make people aware that there is a thing on this earth that's evil. And it's an evil, it's a resident evil. It's not around the corner, it's resident, it's right here. Christmas, spent a little bit of time, just figured I'd paint the whole apartment house just because it's been years and I procrastinated, and I went on to do that. As you can see, I changed the back walls and I like it. It's very neutral. Hope you guys like it. So just doing the things that are just, to keep my mind and my time occupied as I grow. Not just doing things to keep my mind off of stuff. That's not what we want to do. We want to occupy our time in our life with things that are constructive, that are beneficial, to make us greater people, so we can go out and benefit other people. Now, Christmas, my children, my twins, actually their birthday was yesterday. They were 14. I didn't spend it with them, nor did I spend Christmas with them. I did want to take them out for a little while yesterday to do something, just something small, real practical, and have them go somewhere and maybe buy something if they wanted to. But however, the mother of these children, even though I'm physically not with her anymore, haven't been in probably almost decade. This is not the wife I married, the third wife. This is a woman that I had these twins by in 09. And so, you've seen them on a video in my early beginnings. But she is definitely, like I've said it many times before, and I'll stand on it. The narcissism in this individual is so fractured, and she's a bad candidate to be a narcissist to begin with, but her parents are very much a narcissist, and I stand on that. Now, the control is off the Richter, although there is no control to be had. I have custody of them. I could have, in and of myself, went and just demanded or showed up and just asked the kids to come out. But this is the thing that you will never, ever be done with dealing with in life, not just as it pertains to this situation I just pointed out. This is something you can't be laxed about. Your awareness has to stay top notch. You have to, if I can use the word, religiously educate yourself And you have to religiously, consistently keep and maintain your awareness. Because just going out to the grocery store, just going out to the gas pump, just going out to the mechanic shop, just going into the hospital at the receptionist desk, you're going to be met with these meat suits. And so it is a pleasing thing to God when He sees that I can handle this situation that I just pointed out to you guys. But I made it my business to bring awareness to specifically my daughter, just to let her know that. And this is up to you guys, but I'm just speaking of me. This is what I encourage anyone to do. Don't leave your children behind. If you're the healthy person and you want to see healthy, you have to speak healthy. And so, not to belabor that point, I just kind of encouraged and instructed my daughter. I say, you are 14, you and your brother, and you do have the right to speak your truth. You don't have to be disrespectful. You have to speak your truth. I'm teaching you guys to live in truth, live in discipline, live in respect and consideration. All those beautiful things that we hear and been taught, some of us, and somehow or another we having to walk it out now, and it brings on a new meaning, because you don't just practice these ethical things. You have to instruct your children. And then when you instruct them, they can actually see by not what you're saying, but they can also look back at your life, and they can kind of like measure your words by your life. And if they can measure your life, although you're not 100% perfect, but you're perfectly in the place where God wants you to be. And if you continue to do that, I think God rewards, and He recognizes this in your life. And He says you shall have long days, and you will have basically a beautiful life. Because He said the peace that He will give you, it'll surpass all understanding. I'm not going to say I wasn't a little put off by the fact that she deprived these children of just, wanting to go out and kick it with their father. But you know what? If I had to go back and talk to you guys in depth about a story of spending 6 years fighting for these kids in court, it wasn't just court. I was arrested on multiple occasions, frivolous arrest, vindictive arrest, mind you. But we're talking in upwards of 20, 30 arrests over a 5-year span. County jail, of course. And this would always be instances where either their birthday, Christmas, you name it. So long before this even happened, though, I began to back away from holidays altogether, because I see how the world commemorates this stuff. And some of you may commemorate this in that same fashion. Does it make you part of the problem in the world? No, it doesn't. What I would say, though, it actually, if you're a chosen one and an empath, it definitely makes you a go along to get along. Put yourself through the test. See if these things matter to you in a major way, or can you take it or leave it? So bigger point is, I was already being instructed, I believe, by God and the Spirit, to actually just relinquish these things that don't really have the meaning in them that people portray them to be. They don't really feel what they portray. They are not in this Christmas spirit as they portray, because this is many times for a lot of people it is an allurement. It is an allurement, and narcissists, they always setting the rat trap for the mice. And so this is something that is always amplified to draw the masses. I've told you before, we don't need the bells and the whistles. We could take it or leave it. Ask yourself, can you take it or leave it? So I was being prepared for this long years ago. So when this happened the other day, I had already been, and I told my daughter and my son, I'm going to paint the house, I'm going to change the rooms, and I'm bouncing around. I've done this room, I've done a little bit in her room, so I'm going to attempt to paint 5 or 6 rooms. And it's basically the same color all the way through. It's going to be fluid, just a neutral color. I'm not going crazy, I'm not doing nothing extensive, because I would hope to buy another residence soon. I would hope. I've been here all the children's life for almost 14 years. And so there is a change that will be happening, but it'll happen as everything is happening in my life. It'll happen naturally. So the things that I've been doing since I've seen them last, they are out on school break, obviously, a week, I think, week or two. They've spent most of their time over there. You have to understand when the other parent, be it the narcissist, the dark energy one, tries to leverage the children in an assault to try to gain or garner attention, to appear that they are something they're not. You allow this to some degree, as long as the kids are safe, and you use that time that you have. You use it effectively, because that's your downtime. That's the time that God's affording you. Not only to just do what you need to do for you, but you're also able to see what is taking place on the other side over there. They're putting more work and chores on themselves, trying to play like they're the good parent. And in essence, you know the narcissist is doing things out of an energy that is not real. They wear themselves out trying to do something to impress, because it's all about leverage. While you're over here, you're just doing less and you're doing the most. So just kind of moving around in a few places just to kind of get you guys to see that this is a Resident Evil. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, nor should it. God said He's giving this this world over to the power of darkness for a time. So if that's the case, it's not our timetable, so we're gonna have to deal with it. How are you gonna deal with it? Are you just gonna say, well, I'm just gonna stay in my cove, I'm gonna stay in my lane? That's not the luxury that you're gonna be afforded. You're gonna have to speak, you're gonna have to make people aware of what you know, the best way that you know how. Ask God to show you what your gifting is, and you're gonna have to do this thing. You're not gonna sit around and just get a pass because you have been awakened and because God's got you out of this mess. You think you're just gonna go around and get along to bob and weave and maneuver around these people. It's not going to work out for you that way. And it's unfortunate that that's the case, but it's very rewarding if you can do that very thing that I said initially in this video. If you can just begin to draw off of things that are deep down inside of you that have been so deeply hidden, and unearth those things, find out your core abilities, find out how to be peace with yourself, how to be at one with yourself, then you can understand that, man, I love my life, I love me, I care about me, I'm considerate of me. I have all the things that I look for in other people. And how you look for that in other people, you have to pour it into them. Because there's somebody out there just waiting for somebody like you to come along and pour those things into their spirit. It's not a pep talk, it's not a motivational speaker. They're just looking for somebody like you that's authentic and genuine enough to just say the thing that they've heard a million times before. But when you say it, it will readily resonate with them. They will readily embrace it. They will readily feel it. And that peace that you have, you will essentially share that peace with them. So, go do that, okay? Meantime, bless.